a 5-person team or a 2-person team, or you're just starting off your team, the reason why hiring can seem so daunting is because your whys matter as much to me as your qualifications, because my whys matter as much to me as my bottom line.
With me today, I have Erin Thompson. She is the CEO of Thompson Virtual Assistants, helping entrepreneurs save 20 plus hours per week with expert US and Canadian-based virtual support teams. Today, we'll talk a lot about employment. We'll talk about how to build your team, the benefits of using a Canadian US base, and how that whole thing works. So, Erin, let's start with how are you feeling today?
Better now. We're doing well over here. We're a little hot, but we're doing okay. How are you, Zivko?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm excited to talk about some of these things because when we met, I started with my usual spiel. You're offshore this, and you're like, no, there's no one that is offshore. So walk me through your model of virtual teams and support.
I would love to. Yes. So I remember during our call, the look on your face, and I was like, no, we don't do that. And we don't. That's one of the things that sets us apart in this industry, is that our team is based completely on Canadian and American soil. And the reason we did that was to ensure the quality of the work, to connect people, right? We wanted to offer businesses a different way to get support, but the same quality of support, and still be supporting people within North America, right? So we wanted to keep those dollars and that time and that employment within our borders, while still being able to offer businesses who maybe don't need 40 hours or 20 hours of support a week with that support that they do need at the hours they need it at.
Now, it sounds very simple and straightforward, but most people don't go this path. Can you tell me, how did you get to this idea? How did this whole thing start?
Well, for me, it was important right from the beginning when I decided, hey, we're going to do this thing, right? It's not just me kind of making some money on the side, but we're going to actually do this thing. I sat down, and the first sort of business thing I did was to sit down and say, what are our pillars for the kind of company that we want to be? And at the forefront of that decision was people, helping people, right? So we could have certainly saved money and had higher profit margins if we did offshore things. But then I wouldn't be helping people. I wouldn't be helping, for my team, the people who are qualified to work and maybe need to work from home for whatever reason, who have the experience here and maybe can't work 20 or 40 hours a week. And I just also didn't think that it would be providing business owners with what their needs were, because yes, you would get something cheaper, but people wouldn't be available to you at the hours that you need them available. And I was really focused on the quality of that work as well. So for me, it all just centers around our mission, which is to give small business the leg up that big business has, offering them teams of support and being able to help our people to have income.
When you're looking at your mission statement, and you're saying that you want to give small businesses the leg up, how does that work with your service? Like, let's say someone is a small business, they hear this like, didn't know this existed. Great. Let me talk to Erin. What are the first steps they do?
Right. So, I mean, so I'll answer that kind of in two parts because it's a bit of a two-parter. So how it helps small businesses is sort of exactly what I said at the beginning. And I came to this place because of how I grew up and my own situation. My dad worked really hard in a lumber yard, and so he often needed support and couldn't get it for the quantity of time or the quantity of funds that they had available to them. So when I look at big business, which answers sort of the first part of your question, like why is this helpful for them? When I look at big business, they have the funds and the means to hire teams of people, right? You have a team for marketing, you have a team for bookkeeping, you have a team for admin. You have all of these people who are excellent at what they do, at their niche. and they're all doing those things. What often ends up happening for small businesses is you can afford to hire one person or two people. And so you're dumping tasks on them that are not necessarily in their niche or in their purview, right? And so for me, looking at starting this business, I wanted to make sure that we were adding the value to our clients of, we will handle everything for you, except for going out and doing the money-making thing. If you are a roofer, God, don't give me a nail gun. But that's nobody's best interest. But everything else, I wanted them to be able to get up in the morning and go do what they do to bring in the money while knowing that everything in the back office is handled. And the only way for us to be able to sort of fathom a way that they could do this is if we were to create that team and then we simply divvy up hours. So if you messaged me and said, Erin, I'm interested, I need help, you would be put in touch with our client success manager. He then sits down and goes through, tell me all the things. Tell me all the Post-it notes you have laying around, right, that need to be checked off, that need help. And he plugs them into a tool that I built over a long period of time. Over a few years, we spent building this tool, and it sort of pops out to us the value of your contract with us, right? This is how much it'll cost a month to get all those things done. And we approximate the number of hours a month. So then our client success manager, if you say, yes, let's go ahead, they go to our people and we compile a team. So rather than getting set with one person who's expected to be good at bookkeeping and marketing and admin and, all of the things, we say, hey, this person's good at this and this person's good at this and this person's good at this. And we give those tasks to the right person instead of just hoping one person can learn how to do all of the things. So that's what I mean when I say our clients have kind of that big business feel when being a small business, because you have, your executive person, if you will, right? Like the owner of Google is not going to his admin and being like, oh, how's that? They have somebody they report to and they manage everybody else for you. So that's how we do it, is we divvy things out to the right person every time.
Okay. And have you had a situation where the tool, spit out all the details, the invoice, the hours, and the team members, and the business owners looks at that as like, that's not what I need?
Of course. Look, tools are great, right? But they're not perfect. They're not always perfect. You'll notice if you go to our website, to our social media platforms, to anywhere, that we have no pricing listed. The reason for that is because we build custom packages for people. So does our tool always get it right? No. But it's very rare, honestly, that we present a proposal to somebody and they're like, whoa, that's not what I needed. Because it all starts with a conversation. It all starts with them saying to us, these are the things I need help with. And what we present them with is, if you wanted this much help in those things, that's what it looks like. If you wanted this much help in those things, that's what it looks like, et cetera, et cetera. I can elaborate a little bit more in the sense that we have had times where we have a client come on, and it's always when we get to the hours part and they're like, I have no idea how many hours, right? So, and I appreciate that. Most people aren't sitting there with a timer going, oh, how long did this task take me, right? How long did that email take me to pump out? So we're pretty good at guesstimating the time of things because we track all of our time for tasks. So I'm pretty good at knowing how long an email on average takes to write and send out. But the way our system works is we review everything. If we find a client came on at 10 hours a week or 40 hours a month, and we review that at the end of the month, and I'm like, whoa, Jim really only used 20 hours of our services, we would go back to Jim and have a conversation. We would be saying, is this an outlier? Is this typical? Was it, winter and you are a landscaper? What's going on to cause that? We also will roll over hours. So there might be a month then where Jim goes, whoa, it's summer now. Everybody needs a pool, right? And so we track those hours to say, okay, he banked hours here. So we're not going to have a conversation of maybe we need to charge him more down the line. We really try and keep on top of that kind of thing to make sure that there is value for our clients and value for us. Partially because I need to know how to staff my people. Are we using more hours or less hours? And also just because our forefront is making sure that we are providing value and helping our clients. And I can't do that if you're paying for services you do not need.
That's right. And it feels like when it comes to the hours, this is where most of the clients you work with and business owners, they kind of stumble or like I don't track specifically those things. What are the most common tasks that small businesses need help with the most?
Yeah, so generally speaking, where we start off with clients, almost all of them start by coming to us for one of three things. They need bookkeeping assistance, they need social media assistance, or they need scheduling assistance. That's typically where I think probably 90% of our clientele, those were the first things they hired us for. Almost all of I think we only have 2 clients that are still on a single service. Everybody within a few months of being with us is like, oh, you do all of these things. Then why am I paying 4 different people to do that, right? But typically that's where things start. Bookkeeping, because it's easy to offshore or outsource, and people don't know how to do it, right? It's a task that is annoying and takes up a lot of time. And we have systems in place that it's as simple as like take a picture of your receipt and go about your merry day. But those are really the things that right at the beginning, that's where we start. But in terms of services that we offer, we handle all of it. From basic data entry to executive assistants, managing calendars, scheduling you out, acting as your time gatekeeper, financial assistance in terms of bookkeeping or reporting, that kind of thing. We do social media management. We edit and update websites. We build websites. Anything that you can think of that you would hire someone in office to take care of for you, we have a sect for that.
And you're saying typically the first 3 that someone will come to you, it will be bookkeeping, social media, or booking calls or booking assistance around that. And with time, they start to kind of combine all these things or different aspects to it because those things are covered. Now, when you're looking at what needs to be done and when you're looking at your team, how do you find the right match so that the client gets the right person for the right job?
Right. So our people, when they come in, we go through a series of interviews, first at a group stage, then eventually if you pass a group stage and various levels of testing, we know where you rank for which tasks. So it's not just you've worked as an admin, come on in. We rank our people based off of how well they do on the tests that they're given. Right. So if you say rank like 2nd tier bookkeeping, when we have a company that comes on, we evaluate their books, we evaluate the size of their business, the level of the task that they have. And so when we assign tasks and when we look to bring people into a team, we're evaluating who has met that criteria. Their client success manager also reviews all of the tasks before they go out. So we have eyes on what's happening before it's delivered to clients. So we evaluate who can go to those tasks based off of, how well they've done on those tasks, what they've scored on these tasks, what their capabilities are, and also the amount of time they have at their disposal, right? So we have a capacity tool internally. If I know Jim needs 8 hours of bookkeeping and you only have 4 hours of capacity, you're not going to be a good match. So, that's how we build out the teams for our clients. We also ensure that we always have a backup. So they might not be working directly on your file every day, but they would have access to meeting notes. They would have access to all of the activity in your client dashboard. So if they had to jump in, say Brianna is sick tomorrow, we don't leave our people in a lurch, right? It's one of the benefits of having a virtual assistant team is you don't deal with sick days or vacation time or maternity leave or anything. There's always somebody there to jump in. Our clients also have the ability to talk with their entire team. They speak with their client success manager, but they have access to anybody working on their file. So if a client said, hey, this isn't getting done the way that I want it to, they can speak directly to that person, or they can go to their client success manager, and then we would replace that member of their team.
Now, that feels like a difficult conversation to have. how do you have those conversations? What are the things that you are kind of preparing before, during, and after those calls?
So we're talking about the calls where a client comes to me and says, this person just is not working out. Okay.
Yeah.
So they are. It's not something we ever like to hear, obviously, right? But the same way when you hire somebody externally, they may not work out for a number of reasons. It could be personality. It could be, they're just not getting it. It could be dedication. First and foremost, we always enter those conversations just looking to listen, partially to suss out what is the problem. If it's a matter of personality, happens, right? So we just move on. I mean, no two people are always going to get along or work well together, right? So our goal is to make sure that our VAs are able to deliver, but also that our clients are happy and feeling secure in who's working on their files. So first of all, we just listen to them. In the event that something is not being done properly, that's when I get called in, Zivko. I get called in at that point by our client success team. And that's when our clients have a conversation with me directly. If a member needs to be replaced on a team for any reason, we will do that because our client's comfortability is the most important. But what we do after is take those notes back to our team member to review what happened here. Is there a problem? Do you need more training? Do you need to be brought down a tier? Generally speaking, we've only had it happen a few times. And both of the times we removed that team member before it got to a point of anybody saying to us, we think they need to be removed, because we do have a lot of fail safes in place internally to make sure it does not happen. But at the end of the day, nobody wants that phone call, but at the end of the day, nothing is perfect. No system is perfect. Okay. It's just not. But that communication needs to be there with the client, with my people, with us. And so we work really hard to foster an environment where, I always say to our potential clients during our discovery calls, we should feel like an extension of you. If you had an problem with an employee, you would talk to somebody about it, right? You would address it. That's what we hope from our clients. Come to us and address it with us so that we can fix it. But yeah, generally speaking, we've been the ones to say, okay, we're going to remove this person and bring in somebody else.
Now, what happens this is a different kind of scenario where I think the one you were walking us through is very clear, and it's obvious you have systems and fail safe switches to make sure this doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. How do you handle a situation where the client says one thing, the employee says another thing, and there's nothing that you like, I don't see a middle ground, and what do you do in that situation?
Of course. Our favorite he said, she said debacle, right? Yeah. Where you're trying to suss out what's going on. For us, in an event where we've not had this happen, okay? But in an event where it was something serious, something like, let's say it's to the level of like a fireable offense, okay? Let's say it's there. We do have systems in place to evaluate this, though, knock on all of it, throw all the salt. We have thankfully not had to deal with this yet. So if I do soon, I'm coming for you because you opened it up in the universe. But in the event that it was something serious, we do have an internal system for interviews, both with the client and with our people, right? Because you need to be able to sort of get to the bottom of things. In the event that something is not clear, we would again have more training, and we would probably go back to that person having a supervisor for a period of time. We also keep all of our tasks, all of our meeting notes, everything is kept in our system. So we would have an internal review. We would be looking to see if anything seems amiss, right? In the recordings of meetings, was something said that shouldn't have been said? We can see all of the times that our people have logged into our system, have delivered a task, have blah, blah, blah. So in looking through all of that, if we were not able to find anything that would suggest that the client is telling the truth, for me, I think we would probably no longer be able to work with that client. Look, you can't always tell, sometimes there's a lot of gray, but if there's no black or no white and it's just in the middle, our systems are built so that we have a lot of transparency, right? So if there was nothing and I thought that a client was just trying to throw my person under the bus, I'm not sure that's a relationship that I would want to continue. And vice versa, right? If we had an internal person trying to blame a client for something they did, we would be saying goodbye very quickly, because there's a lot. This whole system is based on trust, right? My business is based off trust, and it's a big trust because for my people, we're their income, and for my clients, we're the backboard to their dream. So yeah, I knock on everything. I don't want to deal with that.
Hey, it sounds like you have so many processes and SOPs to prevent something like that from ever happening, ever happening. And you're in a position where you kind of know, just in case, how that would roll out. Now, this all is systematized and has a lot of SOPs, and you spend a lot of time, like you said, building those tools. And these things work well when you have all the right people. What is your what is your success to hiring? How do you find the right people to bring into your organization that is outside of skill matching? Like, yes, tick, 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 great, that you are a fantastic bookkeeper. We're talking about what do you seek to see that is a great hire I would like to have as part of my company?
Yeah, so skills are one thing, and they're amazing. We need them specifically in my business because we look for people who already have experience, significant experience in whichever sector we are hiring them in. But more so, I look for people who are able to manage their time because we are remote. I look for people who are extremely responsive and communicative because we are remote. And our hiring process is long. We get a lot of resumes. We get a lot of attention, and people expecting like, oh, I'll be hired tomorrow. I'll be working tomorrow. You will not be by any stretch. We have a very long process. So it starts simply by obviously reviewing the resumes, reviewing the information, right? Then we move into group interviews, which we presently only hold quarterly. We do one every quarter. We also do not hold an application button on our website presently. So you must be willing to take the time to find my contact information and contact me directly. That right off the bat for me was to sort of weed out anybody who does not have that dedication. Perhaps sometime in the future we will have just positions to apply to, but right now you have to find me. After that, like I said, we have a conversation. If you make it past the group stage, to suss out, which vein are you interested in? And then we have a series of internal tests. So if it was financial, you would have a series of tests, and your score on those comes back to us and says, this is where you rank. After that is when we then internally have a conversation about who you are. So your whys matter as much to me as your qualifications, because my whys matter as much to me as my bottom line. That's really the differentiating factor. You might check all the boxes, but if I don't think you care and get that we are supporting small businesses, these are families, these are people with children, these are people paying their mortgages. This is not Morgan and Chase, okay? This is not like we are supporting human beings who have put everything, their time, their effort, their money, their savings, their retirement, everything is in their dream. And I know that because I did that for my dream, right? So I understand deeply the sacrifices that they've made. So for me, the final leg, my husband always jokes, you have to get past me. I'm the final boss. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to, do you take this seriously? Are you going to show up? And do you care? Do you get it? And that's how you come to work with us, is if I see in you that thing I have in me that is like, you know, I genuinely want to make sure that I do my best to help this other person.
It sounds like you're saying the whole process is meticulous and detailed to understand the skill sets, to make sure it's the right person with the right drive and ambition, and at the last steps at the end, you're looking at how strong are their whys, what are their whys, to make sure they're serious about this, to make sure they care about it, to make sure they get it. They're working with small businesses. It's not like an accountant or a bookkeeper. They will JP Morgan and Chase or something like that. It's a different environment.
That's it. Yeah. If you're just here, like, look, we all need to make money. Okay. I'm not new here. I didn't wake up to this today. We all need to make money. But if you are just coming in to like grab your paycheck and go, you're not going to have the attention to detail that I need you to have. You're not going to be proactive enough like I need you to be, right? And I mean, the beautiful thing about what we do is we can do it from anywhere. I also don't need you necessarily to be available, depending on what you do with us. I don't necessarily need you to be available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, right? You might be one of our VAs who gets the kind of tasks where you can do them at night on your couch while you're, watching your favorite TV show, or from the dock of your cottage. There's a lot of freedom involved in what we do. And I think at the same time, there's a lot of responsibility behind it, because you deciding not to do something well or not to give it the attention that it requires could hurt somebody else's ability to make money, right? So that really is like the driving thing. And, it's one of the reasons why I make people find me. If you aren't willing to do that, then right off the bat, I just don't know if you have that thing to go that extra step.
Got it. You want to see that they will go the extra step right off the bat in the first couple of steps. Now,
yeah,
you probably have situations where it wasn't an easy decision on who to hire or who's the right person. Do you have like a go-to question in your interview process to like break a deadlock, or to give you clarity based on their answer?
So I don't have a go-to question, but I do have a few that I cycle through. The first one is, who do you have to take care for? Like, who is it that you are responsible for? Because I find the people who have a person, right? Be it like my mom, my sister, my brother, my uncle, my aunt, my dog. I've gotten my dog. And that's all fine for me, because it's the sense of there's something bigger than just me that I'm working for. So that one is a big one. My other really big one that I ask everybody is, what is your dream? Because a lot of people fumble there. And I think either because they're not ready, like they don't expect that question, or because they just don't really have one yet. And I find, if you don't know if you don't have a vision for yourself, it's hard to understand like the connection, the stress, the everything that these business owners have, right? Like, for you to really perceptualize what business is to them. It's not just a paycheck. It's not just money coming in. It's the hours. It's the time they missed at soccer games. It's those things. So yeah, do you have a dream, or what is your dream one? It just really lets you see who people are really quickly, and because I think they're caught off guard by it, it leads to like a very genuine sort of reaction in that moment. So yeah, those are my good ones.
That's a very good one. One that I use, someone told me that they said I use this when I hire like executives. What is your favorite movie and why? I'm like, why? It's like, they will start talking about what they perceive or what they like. It's nothing to do with the movie. If someone says, I like Lord of the Rings, okay, they live, they do have bigger dreams or some sort of a vision of life. Or someone says, I don't know, I like a drama, or like Love Island, yeah, you
Yeah,
will.
and right off the bat, we're not going to get along.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
okay. All
They're like,
right.
it's
I
more
like
than
that one. I
it's
might
more
have
than
to
the
steal
movie.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They
Where
were
would you
saying it's
rank
more
Harry
than.
Potter 1 to 10? And then, below this line, you're out right off the bat. We can't get along. I like it. That's good.
Yes, that's a good one. I do use it all the time. There was another one that I just, maybe I should do it. I don't do it because it just, it sounds difficult to grasp your I don't know, in the moment it feels awkward. Like the question is, if you were a tree, what kind of a tree would you be? The goal of it is that they would
Oh, a
describe
willow tree.
themselves.
100% I would be a willow tree. Weeping willow all the way. They're near water. They're like so peaceful looking. They also like those branches down. They're like, leave me alone, like don't come near me. Don't touch me. I'm in my ethereal beauty. Just leave me be. But yes, I could understand why most people would be like, what kind of a wackadoo question? I might start using that one though. You
So,
could be a tree.
the goal behind that question is that the person starts describing themselves. They might say like a strong, or someone that is stable, or someone that is supporting. Like they will start describing themselves in essence. But I'm like, I don't know, maybe I can find something else instead of a tree. But that's the goal of that question. And I don't ask that one, but the favorite movie or TV show and why.
That's a good one, though. I appreciate that one, honestly. That's a good one. I really like that. I really like the tree one, too, now, though, so my interviews might get longer. I don't know. It's just a series of, like, which would you be?
If you were... when you're starting your application process, you said one of the first steps is a group interview.
Yeah.
I've heard this in the past where people say, like, it's very good to start to see how people vibe off each other, to see how they would actually be in a working environment. What is your main reason? Why do you start the process with a group interview?
Yeah, so we are looking for two things when we do it that way. Because we are 100% remote, and our people, you might be on a team with someone and they're in Vancouver and you're in, Toronto, or they're in Seattle and you're in Ottawa, right? So that connectivity is difficult sometimes to achieve when you are completely remote. So what we're looking for is we're looking for leadership in those meetings, right? Does somebody bring out the best in the other people in the meeting? Does somebody offer assistance if someone is fumbling on a question? Who is also letting people fall, right? So who is just waiting for their turn to speak? Who is jumping all over people? Who is the hand constantly in the air and not giving other people an opportunity, right? So who's just looking out for them? So leadership and the ability to communicate effectively with other people, that level of respect, that's why we do it that way. There might be times where we say all four of you are great and now you're on a team together because you all did such great, worked so well together. There might be other times where we say absolutely none of you are getting past this stage. But it's just about, can you communicate with others and how do you operate when you're in a group setting, right? It really lets you it lets you see the sharks really quickly. And it also lets you see the leaders really quickly. I love sharks, but not in my company. So
no, it's a very interesting way because you will see it firsthand and it kind of develops naturally, organically in that environment. How do you frame questions to ask a group? Because I'm asking that it doesn't feel like you can ask someone, tell me a little bit more about yourself, and then you now tell me, how do you frame questions for a group interview?
We actually don't ask those questions in group interviews. We don't do that. It's more of a tell me your experiences about, and then a subject. And we always experiences, right? So tell me about your experiences during your first job, right? And then who wants to go first? And then you let them talk. Okay, awesome. Tell me about your families. and you let them talk, right? Or tell me about your last job, and you let them talk. And it's always then guided with like who wants to go first, and constantly shifting that person, because oftentimes you will get a Hermione Granger hand up every time, you know. So yeah, that's really, it's just because you want communication. I think of it more as like, how would you set up networking, right? When you plop down a bunch of people at a table, you give them an icebreaker, right? So our big questions are like, if this was a problem given to you, how would you solve it? If a client spoke to you like this, what would you do? That's really the group interview, and just giving everybody an opportunity to say, oh, this is what they do. The nitty gritty stuff about themselves for a few reasons. Number one, for privacy. The other strangers in this room do not need to know about your work history. They don't need to know where you live or who you are, you know, and also just creating that separation for you, you know. But those other things, right? Tell me about a time this, that, or the other thing happened, or how would you solve this problem? That speaks to character, not to like you personally. I agree. It would be very awkward to be like, tell me about your work history while sitting in a room with 4 strange people.
When you're, it's a good way to understand that you're trying to have dialogues around themes that is kind of connected all of them. So it's nothing unique that like no one else can speak on this one. It's themes that connect all of them and you want to see how that develops. Now, have you had a situation where fantastic employee doesn't want to do the group interviews? Like, no, let's do one-on-one, and you will see. I don't want to do.
Wouldn't know if they're a fantastic employee, because if you don't want to do my sister could call me and say, well, okay, maybe not my sister, but you get what I'm getting at, right? It doesn't matter to me who you are on paper. If you won't do that's the first part of our culture, is we are a team. We're a team. So if you're not willing to be a part of a team thing from the beginning, we're not the company for you, because we do not operate as a standalone VA who is attached to a client and off you go. And then we just collect the money from them and pay our people. That's not like, I speak with my VAs weekly. They have my direct access. My clients have my direct access. We operate as a fully functioning team that has tiny little projects that all of us are assigned to, but we do not operate in the sense of like, you passed your interviews, fantastic, here's the person you're assigned to, bye. That's not it. So if you don't want to do a group interview, that's totally okay. Nothing wrong with that, but we're not the company for you.
It sounds like because you have these processes and systems in place, if for you it's a very straightforward way of developing that culture. And when businesses come to you, they can see that there is a system, there is a process with the right focus, stuff that they would love to develop, but just can't. Like you said, the time is not there, the investments are not there, the need on some things is not there. But these are the stuff that I feel like every small business owner, even large businesses, are striving to develop. Like hiring is one of the hardest things to do. Like you build all these things because of people. You don't build it because the tool was fantastic. Yeah. And when you showcase that to your clients and to other businesses, like you would love to have this HR process. We have it. That's how you have the right people connected. And good luck going developing on your own. It will take you years.
Well, and like, look, we have clients that are with us month to month to month to month for virtual assistant services. We also have clients that have come to us for one-off projects where we've built systems for them or helped them implement systems or help them fix very outdated or broken systems. Systems are everything. I am very fortunate because that's just how my brain works. Is, you know, I see puzzle pieces and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that could be, and smush them all together until I see the picture, right? So I think for us with small businesses, the problem often becomes if you are a 5-person team or a 2-person team, or you're just starting off your team. The reason why hiring can seem so daunting is because a lot of people use you as a stepping stone. A lot of people, right? So for our clients who only need help 5 or 10 hours a week, you're not going to be able to keep an employee because they need to work 40 hours a week to pay for their bills, right? So they come in, they get their experience with you, but they're always looking for what they actually need. They're looking for more hours. They're looking for a bigger place. They're looking for a bigger paycheck. So the only way for you to stay competitive and not constantly end up in this hamster wheel of hiring, training, losing, hiring, training, losing, and therefore you feel like you can never get ahead, right? Because if you're spending let's say you spend a week on training every 6 months or every year, that person, you're just going through the same year over and over and over and over again, right? It's like the worst business Groundhog Day imaginable. So when we look at things and how we offer service to small businesses and having those systems in place, I put systems in place in my company that if I wouldn't use them, we don't have them, because the people who are doing all of these things for my company are my people. So if I wouldn't, like, I'm not outsourcing our bookkeeping, my bookkeepers do it. I don't outsource my social media team does it, right? So when I looked at these systems, it has to meet the me test first. Again, final boss situation, right? If it's not good enough for me, not good enough for anybody else. But yeah, the systems are really, really hard. And in small business, it's often simply because the level of support for the time that you need, they don't align. You need quality support, but you only need it for part-time hours, and then people move on too quickly, right? So for us, we're able to capture those people you need, and you don't have to fork over 20 or 30 or 40 hours worth of dollars when really you only need 5 hours of help.
It makes a lot of sense, and I think I've seen a lot of even clients that I work with, like the main contact that I would have. I know they're taking care of so many things that are completely unrelatable to what they need to do. It's just everything's dumped. Like that's it. They have enough work for one person to be satisfied with the hours, for the bills to be covered, but they're not enjoying this at all. This is like half-assed at best, because it's just really hard. And then because your teams are US and Canada based, it's even easier for the hours of when you work. I have clients that I know they have outsourced teams where they're asking them to work night shift. Like if you have outsourced teams, you ask them to work night shift.
They're working in the middle of the night. Yeah.
It's just not there. It's simple as that. Someone asks you to do night shift, it's really hard. It's just really hard. Even I was gonna say, even when you're looking to give the hours and build all these things, a couple of things need to come in place which are outside of the billable hours. It's about the lifestyle. If someone is like 2 hours away from Ottawa or 3 hours away from like Seattle, like it's not a big deal. You're asking someone to work night shift, to take the calls for you, or put social media stuff, the level of quality drops dramatically.
Yeah, we have a lot of clients, especially in the last year, that have come to us having offshored. So they've gone through that process and now they've come to us. And the biggest issues they have is communication, not just with them, but a lack of understanding maybe of the task, or if their VA is doing client communication, things like grammar and spelling being off, or again, just not always understanding what's going on. And then, availability, right? So we have a client right now who just came to us having offshored for the last 3 months. And his big thing was like, I message and I get it's the middle of the night, but the stuff I need done. So if I log off at 5 p.m. and I haven't heard from them, was it done? Is it going to be done tomorrow? Like, what's happening? And I mean, I always kind of liken it to hospitals, right? When I was a kid, my dad's big thing was like, if you are sick enough that you're saying in the middle of the night, I need to go to a hospital, think you're dying. Because we know statistically the odds of something negative happening with a doctor in a hospital happen at night because they're exhausted. They've been working for 24 hours. They're exhausted, right? Mistakes are higher when you're tired. So yeah, that the ability to communicate with each other and reach out it wouldn't work for our system, honestly. We tell our clients, we are like your in-house team. We just don't work in-house. Our clients are all provided with a phone number that they can call or text. It is their task number. So it's no different than texting your in-house assistant to say, I need this done. Those calls or text messages are answered within an hour, always. It goes directly to our system. Our clients enjoy a client dashboard where you can communicate with your team. You can check on tasks. You can input tasks. So it's all very real time. Same thing with like our reception services, right? If you need people to be making phone calls or answering phones, someone's sitting right there during those hours. If you need something on a weekend or a holiday, we do have different rates for that, but someone is available to do it for you if you need it. So I think all of those things they lend to your brand's integrity and awareness, right? So if your clients or potential clients are looking at a situation where your communication seems off, or you're not as available as they want, or things aren't being responded to, then what is it you're paying for?
Yes, it's very true. Sometimes I've seen where everybody has good intentions, and sometimes you either have the project wasn't clearly communicated, or the other side over promised and just took on too much, and they know it's hard, but they're like, okay, I can get like 20-30% done, the rest I'll try to figure out somehow. And it really rarely works out. Like you said, in your process you have experts, you're just taking out specific times out of their day as opposed to hiring them full time. Now, if someone listens to all this and says, Erin, this is fantastic, how did they get a hold of you to work with you?
Well, if you would like to get a hold of me, I believe in direct communication. So you can reach me at Erin, ERIN, at ThompsonVEA.com. You can also reach our entire client success division by emailing info@ThompsonVEA.com. My husband heads that division, so someone will respond to you very quickly. Our phone number is also listed on our website. You can give us a call there. Or you can reach out to us through any of our social media platforms. There's people monitoring those too.
Fantastic. Erin, thank you so much for sharing all this information. I'm happy to see that there's a different way, that people do it in a different way with teams based in Canada and US. And thank you for sharing all these things. It's obvious that you're very passionate about helping small businesses, and the systems in place that you have truly give them the leg up to compete with big companies. So I appreciate all your time and wish you all the success.